All right, thank you so much. Um, it's been a while since I've given a presentation, and we've got a large number of, well, a significant number of new members in the group. So I'm going to start from the very beginning. I grew up in St. Louis. I have a degree in forestry from the University of Missouri. In 1979, I moved to Ringwood, New Jersey, working for a company called Packaging Corporation of America, which sold paperboard to folded carton plants. This job provided me a complete understanding of the process of paper making, whether it's paperboard, um, white paper for envelopes, and so forth. Um, in 1983, I joined R.R. Donnelley and Company. No longer that name is around, but they were a mega printer located based in Chicago with major plants all over the country. And I spent 6 months in Chicago at their corporate headquarters and at their major printing plant there, learning everything there was to know about printing, from prelim to plate making to gravure to every type of printing process out there. In 1984, I moved to Stamford, Connecticut, working for R.R. Donnelley, calling on major publishers in New York City, Condé Nast Publications, Dell, Doubleday, again, selling them printing to go on to these to some of the plants at R.R. Donnelley. My wife is in education. She's an education coach for the Board of Ed in Greenwich, Connecticut, and she's been there for almost 20 years, teaching other teachers how to teach. I have a daughter who is a junior at the University of Delaware, majoring in communications and marketing, and well, the major is communications, the minors are marketing and entrepreneurship. So it's fun for me to be involved with her discussing these options or these type of businesses from for a college student when you're talking about marketing and entrepreneurship, which is something that's very close to my heart, being a member of this group. Um, while at Donnelley, I was selling to major publishers, but every once in a while I'd come across somebody and say, "Hey, John, can you do a business card for me?" And of course, Donnelley couldn't do something like that. They didn't, they would only do it for sales reps for their own company. They would not do it as an outsource. So at that time, and that was in 1984, 85, I sourced out, because I was living in Stamford, speed printing and graphics, and got to know Steve Seifert there. Um, and that's when my relationship with speed printing and graphics started. That was in 1985. In 86, I left Donnelley for a much smaller company that was in Canton, Ohio, that again was called Seipel Lithograph. There we had sheet fed equipment, we had mini webs, and we did a tremendous amount of color separations for Condé Nast Publications, GQ magazine in particular, House and Garden. Some work for Mademoiselle, some work for Glamour, some work for Brides, and so forth. And color separations is essentially taking a transparency or a picture and breaking it down into four components, four colors that can be used by a printing press to convert that picture into something that resembles the same as a transparency. It was very challenging because I was dealing with the top art directors at Condé Nast Publications, and of course, they experienced that model and that clothing in person, and we were trying to convert that to a file that could be then printed on a piece of paper that was about 4 generations away. So I was trained by these art directors to be meticulous about matching colors and negotiating as why this color isn't exactly, that flesh tone isn't exactly the same, and so forth. So it just helped me develop my experience when it comes to selling printing and so forth. And then in 1990, while still working at Seipel, and then shortly after quitting Seipel, I started my own business called New England Historical Connection. It was a retail furniture store up in Wilton, Connecticut. I worked with local independent small craftsmen, custom building reproduction furniture, because that was a hot market here in New England. You have people, you still have homes around here that were built, 200 years ago, and people were furnishing in those styles. Um, During that whole time, though, I still continued to work with speed printing because I had people call me up because of my past experience, wanting to know, how could they help me? How could I help them with business cards and so forth? So the last thing is that I am also on the board of directors for Stanford Dollars for Scholars. You've heard me bring that name up before. I'm also the committee chairman, so you're going to hear more from me. As a print shop, we're a small print shop, but we have a large capabilities. Printing has changed so much that large presses are no longer needed. The computerization of presses has required that the expense be tremendous, and so it's changed the shape or the style of selling. It hasn't changed the style of selling that we do. We still do printing and so forth, but because of the sophistication of the presses, you just can't, as a small printer, be able to afford that. But what there is out there is a large market of companies that support small printers because they don't want to deal with John Doe Public. We spend an awful lot of time hands-on coaching our customers as to what is needed. High resolution, fonts, things of this sort. You've given me a PowerPoint. That's not any good for converting that to a printed product and so forth. So these companies don't want to deal with the John Doe Public, whether it's business or private. They want to deal with only dedicated files that they can take, put into their systems, print them out in a couple of days, and ship them to you with the quality and the service that and the quality and the type of printing that we couldn't even come to. The number of business card styles that we sell is probably 50, 60 cards, and it's probably going on 10 or 15 different types of presses. And that just compounds everything that we do as far as a printed product. Taking a step back a little bit, I joined a BNI group back in 2000 trying to sell furniture through the same networking group that we have here. That did not work. But in 2011, I joined a Norwalk BNI group, again, but this time selling printing. And at that time, I came across Ray because I contacted him about signage for my store up in Wilton. And I wasn't very happy with the Norwalk group. This group here had decided to let their current printer go and asked me if I would be interested in joining our group. The group at that time was meeting in Stamford, Connecticut. I'm in Stamford at the Government Center, and a lot of the members now here are still members from then. Andrew Bogdan was the president at that time. It was a Friday meeting, which met my schedule much better, and of course, I've never looked back. Back to Seipel Lithograph. Between Steve and I, Steve Seifert, who owns the business, he worked for his dad in Greenwich, who had a print shop. He then bought a print shop in Stamford called Speed Printing and Graphics. He has about 40 years of experience. I have 37 years of experience. And between the two of us, we have over 75 years of experience. So when you come to Speed Printing and Graphics, we do have a graphic artist who actually goes through the files to ensure that they're in good shape. But Steve and I are the ones that work directly with the incoming sales to make sure that our customers are well educated as to what we can do, how we can help them, how we can make their product much better, and so forth. The types of products we offer, of course, are business cards, letterheads, envelopes, invoicing, 1, 2, or 3-part forms, newsletters, brochures, flyers, reports, presentation materials, banners, posters, paper signage, a lot of apparel now, stickers, door hangers, sell sheets, and the menus. We also offer direct mail fulfillment. For instance, we do a lot of work with Ableist. They put out a quarterly magazine. We print the magazine. They give us a list, and we take it to a fulfillment house and we send it out directly. I think that's roughly about 30,000 pieces that we mail out. We also do EDDM programs. We get involved with long distance deliveries. We do installations when we have to. We have now do a lot of digital printing, which is a very sophisticated copier. And on that copier, we can do variable data, which means if you have a newsletter, or you have postcards, or if you have a Christmas card and you want to send it to a specific address, well, you give us that spreadsheet list, and we will put it into the press, into the computers, and we will automatically print each envelope with that address on it. That's what variable data is all about. We do simple graphics and layout. Mostly it's inspections and making sure that the PDF you give us will work well on our equipment or work well on the equipment that we go to. And a lot of times we will go and refer business out to people like Peter and Lauren, who's another networking graphic artist, because we can't do sophisticated graphics, but we can refer people. For instance, when Peter does, Peter asks for referrals to CPAs and lawyers for the website. Well, I don't know, we've done 3 or 4 jobs for Peter. That business has converted to business cards, has converted to envelopes, has converted to letterhead, and that's exactly what we can do. And the quantities are 500 here, 250 there, things of this sort. List of customers. Stanford Business Network has been a huge source of income for me, and I think a huge source of business for me. There's very few people that I haven't done business with, and we've supplied them with anything from business cards to apparel to forums to all that stuff. We do a lot of work for Grade A, Ableist, Greenwich Town Party, the Crab Shell, Renewal by Anderson, On the Mark, Indeed, Chipwick, and many landscapers, painters, restaurants, and law firms. So that's just a kind of a picture of what we do. You come to us because we have the experience. Again, we're a small company who has a large presence and the ability to expand people's branding and marketing needs.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Go ahead.
Questions?
We have time for maybe one question.
Not a question, but Speed Printing did my envelopes with that process with putting the different addresses on the envelopes for my holiday cards. It made it so much easier. It was wonderful, and their quality is always great. And the last thing is happy birthday to John. It's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, it's a big 6'8", baby.
There we go. All right. So we're going to go on to the next thing, but if you have not done a one-on-one or dance card with Jeff recently, definitely do it. You'll learn a whole lot about a business. And not only is he an amazing printer, he's just one of the genuinely nicest people I know, and always up to sort of help others.